Most buyers see corner blocks are better blocks, but the truth is that extra street frontage comes with both benefits and hidden costs. In some cases, you could end up paying tens of thousands more than you expected. So if you are thinking about buying a corner block, this is the video you don't want to skip. By the end, you will know what actually makes a corner block worth buying and whether the corner block you are considering is the right choice for you. So, to see if a corner block really makes sense for you, let's start with why so many people fall in love with them in the first place. And to be fair, corner blocks do have real advantages, and most of them come down to one thing: the second street frontage. On a standard inside lot, you are usually surrounded by neighbors on both sides. But the corner block gives you an additional open side, which creates much more flexibility when designing the home. You may have more options for things like garage placement, driveway access, and home design. This can be especially valuable for narrow blocks, where every meter of frontage matters. That actual open side can also improve natural light and create a stronger street presence. But these benefits are not always the main reason why some buyers are willing to pay more for a corner block. For some buyers, especially those thinking about future development, this is where corner blocks can become much more attractive. Because their second street access can create options that an inside block simply cannot provide. Take a simple standard block, for example. Even if the land size is reasonable, subdivision may be difficult because there may not be enough width to create a separate driveway access. But a corner block is different. With access from both streets, it may provide more flexibility for things like secondary driveway or separate access. This is one of the reasons why in some cases, buyers looking for development opportunities are willing to pay more for the right corner block. However, this is where buyers need to be careful. A corner block does not guarantee subdivision or development potential. It still depends on things like block size, frontage width, zoning, overlays, and council requirements. And this is also where growth corridor estates can be very different from established suburbs. While I was working for a land developer, I was involved in pricing each lot. I remember using the same approach we used in established suburbs. Basically, I priced the corner blocks slightly higher per square meter because they were on the corner. But I got that wrong, and I was corrected. In many new estates, buyers are usually not thinking about subdivision for the next 10 to 15 years. The suburb is still developing, and their future potential does not hold the same immediate value as it does in an established area. The lack of short-term development value is the big reason why corner blocks may not always sell for more in new estates. But that is only part of the picture. One of the biggest factors is that actual street frontage does not always mean more usable land. Depending on the block, you may have larger setback requirements, easements, or additional design restrictions that affect how much you can build. So even though the block may look bigger or more open, the usable building area may not actually be much greater. These factors can also matter in established suburbs, especially if you are considering a knockdown rebuild or a small development project, such as building 2 townhouses. Another cost many buyers underestimate is fencing. With a mid-block, some side fencing costs are usually shared with neighbors. For example, if 2 properties share a boundary fence, the cost is often split 50-50 between both owners. And because that fence faces a public street, there are often additional requirements from the developer or council. You may not be able to simply choose the cheapest standard fence, the height, materials, and overall appearance often need to match the streetscape. So a corner block can come with unexpected costs even before you start building the home. Another hidden cost can appear once you start designing and building the home. In many new estates, developers have design guidelines to protect the overall appearance of the community. Because a corner house faces 2 streets, the side of the house cannot simply look like a plain external wall. Imagine driving through a new estate. If every corner house had a beautiful front facade, but the side facing the other street was just a blank brick wall, it could affect the overall look of the neighborhood. A corner house is visible for two streets, so the builder is not only creating a front facade anymore, they are creating a second face of the house. That is why many developers require what is often called a secondary frontage treatment. This can mean wrapping feature materials from the front facade onto the side wall and continuing design elements like roof features, eaves, or architectural details around the corner. And that can change the cost significantly. The added cost can come from more expensive materials, additional windows, structural changes, extra labor, and sometimes design work needed to meet these guidelines. Depending on the design, these requirements can easily add tens of thousands of dollars to your build cost. So when you see a corner block, don't just focus on what you see from the street. Think about what that frontage actually requires. And that's the money side of things. But what about living there day to day? That's another factor that is much harder to measure. How the block feels to live on. The same thing that makes a corner block feel open and spacious can also make it feel more exposed. More street frontage means more connection to the street, which can mean more foot traffic, more noise, more headlights at night, and less privacy in parts of your backyard. For some buyers, this openness is a benefit. They like the stronger street presence, easier access, and the feeling of having more space around the home. But for others, especially those who value privacy, the same features can become a disadvantage. This is why choosing a corner block is not just about looking at the plan and comparing the numbers. You also need to think about whether the block suits the way you want to live. So, is a corner block worth paying more for? The answer is, it depends on what you are getting and what you value. A corner block can be a great choice if that extra frontage creates real benefits for you. Whether that means better design options, more natural light, stronger street appeal, or more flexibility for future changes. But don't buy one simply because everyone says corner blocks are better. The word corner alone does not make a block premium. What matters is whether that corner actually creates value for you. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. I'll keep sharing practical property insights to help you make better decisions in Australia.